Hello and welcome to TelecomTV's Strategic Outlook, realising the full potential of Open RAN and 5G. I'm Guy Daniels, Director of Content at TelecomTV, and joining me now is Claus Pedersen, who is VP Communications Infrastructure Solutions with HPE. Hello Claus, good to see you again. Let's start by talking more about this disaggregation we're seeing in the RAN and the resulting innovation, the opening up of the RAN. Why is this important and how can HPE bring value to it?
Yeah, no, this is critical for the industry because as we move through the time of 5G, we will increasingly see the complexity of the radio access network growing. So to be ready for that, we have to set the radio access networks up to be able to introduce more and more technology, more and more innovation in order to carry the networks of the future. So this really matches in many ways what we have traditionally from HPE done in the core network, although the complexity and the distribution of the radio access network clearly adds a new dimension to this. So we continue to aim to provide the very best products, but then also take a full view of what is it our customers are trying to achieve, work with partners, and really take risk out of the equation as we bring these state-of-the-art products forward and help build the infrastructure of the future.
And what is the unique value that HPE brings?
Well, I think again, as I said before, there's sort of two sides to it. There is the product value, the innovation, the cost curves we can lead with on our product side. So maybe I'll talk a little bit about that. So for example, if you look at, we are now building our next generation servers that is based on Intel third generation Xeon platforms. And as we release those, we are putting a lot of effort into making sure that they are ready to carry these telco workloads. It's, for example, our Edgeline 8000T is a platform that is already deployed in RAN. And as you look at its deployment models, you know, the testing that we do with not just the platform itself, but the accelerators with the technology on top, such as the container platforms, to really make sure that that full stack works. And that's, you know, one area. Now, of course, we talk a lot about server storage, etc., because that's a lot of our business. But we also have products like our Open Distributed Infrastructure Management, which is not just a product, but an industry initiative. We have released the code out into open source that are all helping telcos that need to manage these distributed complex networks do that in a multi-vendor environment. So that's a critical initiative that, again, not just adds value and make it simpler, cheaper, but it also takes risk out of a multi-vendor environment.
So as you said, there's this need to reduce risk, to improve the net business benefit for CSPs. Can you give us an example of this?
Yeah, I touched on this notion of testing the full stack. So obviously that involves a lot of partner technology. So if you look at it from a CSP's perspective, rather than having components arriving from 5-6 different vendors, as HPE, we actually get ahead of that and help test so that for example, up to the level of the virtualization layer, be it containers or OpenStack, that the platform is fully tested, we know all the drivers are in place, that it can carry the workloads, we've optimized it with the right hardware elements underneath, such as, you know, the NICs, the network interface cards, the accelerators that are necessary for those workloads. So a customer of ours can rely on those blueprints, as we refer to them, as a very solid tested base for their network, as then they bring vendors in more at the application level, say for radio processing. This is particularly critical in an area like RAN, where it is more complex and it will evolve very fast. Another area where, you know, again, I was saying before, we take sort of the full view of our customers' challenges. So if you look at the financial risk, HPE GreenLake is our sort of offering to enable our customers to consume our infrastructure as a service or on demand, whatever your preferred wording is. And that allows customers to share some of the financial risk as they deploy new technology in the RAN. Later in these sessions, you will hear from Big Globe. It's a new important MVNO in Japan, how their whole billing infrastructure and core network is deployed this way with HPE GreenLake, and therefore as their subscriber base grows, their consumption of technology, if you will, compute and software, etc., grows, and they pay on that consumption model. So helping take the financial risk out in a very meaningful way. A third element to this is then how this all gets delivered. And we work very closely with our partners, the equipment providers, Nokia, Samsung, Ericsson, etc. They're the big gorillas in the industry that can really deploy these very complex solutions and have an incredible installed base. So for telcos that may want to disaggregate the RAN or in the core networks, we can work with those telcos and help them set up the architectures, help them plan out their technology roadmaps. But we work very closely with the equipment providers. So whilst you can disaggregate on the technology side that way and take control of the architecture, very often we see our collaboration with the equipment providers then resulting in the customer ordering from, say, Nokia, Ericsson, Samsung, and we deliver our technology through them. They will integrate, and that way the telco can sort of separate the technology disaggregation from the financial and system integration risk in these projects. So all of these things is about thinking through what does it mean to take advantage of new technology at the very leading edge, but without introducing, unnecessary business risk. And every customer is different in terms of what risk they're willing to absorb. So obviously we have to adjust to that.
And both you and Phil mentioned the RAN optimized server. Can you tell us a little bit more about it? Yeah, so traditionally HPE's business in the telco world around servers has been that we take our very high volume servers, our DL360, 380 are really the workhorses of the open telco networks. And then we make sure we test them with the right componentry, be it network cards, storage, etc., to make sure they're ready, and we build them into our blueprints, etc. But that's really taking a server that's designed for a different market, or for a horizontal, if you will, IT market, and making sure that it's ready for telecom. What we have done with our DL110 is a whole new way of thinking about it, where the platform has been designed with the specific workload in mind. So we don't talk about how many PCI slots the server has. We think about the dimensioning for how many antennas do you want to connect. So in this particular case, 18 narrowband or 6 midband antennas can go into this server. We think about what type of processor to minimize the latency for the application. But it's all about the sort of design criteria you will have to build a RAN platform. And we are taking some of the future requirements into account as well. If you want your cell site router or your front haul gateways to be loaded onto this platform, we've taken that into account and it's ready for it. And of course, there's all the usual stuff that you deploy out on the edge of the network. So power is at a premium, form factor, cooling, etc. has also been absorbed. But it's really taking the server and rather design a generic server, design it for this specific workload. And it's been very interesting and very exciting to do that with our partners and customers who have contributed greatly to the design. And what's been the response from your customers?
Well, I would say it's been a phenomenal response, not just to the platform, but overall our vRAN program, where we are trying to really engage with the community and the customers, not just to think about what's needed for today's problem, but really what's needed going forward. So for the DL110, we are already shipping pre-production units to partners and customers for early trial. So on that side, things are really exciting, and we are very, very pleased with the response we've seen in the market. But we are also engaging very closely with the community, again, to figure out all the other things sitting around and talking, what should the blueprints look like? What are the right partners for the radio processing? What are the accelerators that needs to be there today, tomorrow? We work closely with Intel so that Intel can promote this platform as part of their reference designs. So altogether, it's been a phenomenal response. And I think one of the things that characterizes RAN and disaggregation of RAN is it's really a community effort where we learn from each other, we learn with each other. And I think some of the things we'll hear from Deutsche Telekom and Vodafone in the next couple of sessions and interviews will really illustrate how HP is part of that.
Thank you, Claus. Thanks for joining us on the programme today. Don't forget to watch the other interviews from TelecomTV's Strategic Outlook, Realising the Full Potential of Open RAN and 5G. If you missed our live broadcast, you can still watch the key interviews here on the website on demand. For now though, thank you for watching and goodbye.